Hello everyone, Lady Shatana here once again, talking to you about the Cavern Style in the Minecolonies mod, which is the obviously greatest mod to ever hit Minecraft. I am here today to talk about standard huts, their sizes, placement, and any little tips and interesting things that I can think of while we're doing this. So starting, again, I'd just like to show you some examples of things. This is one of the connector decorations. It's the waterfall bridge, and I like it. So something you can put in a connector. Okay, so we're moving into a regular hall. This particular one has some huts in it, and just to show you what it is with no facades. This is a double high, single wide hut. So you can see it's got an internal stair that can take you up and down to the second floor. And this one over here is a double wide, double high hut. So it takes up a full side of a hall. This particular one, I believe, is the university. So if we say it's a single wide, single high, it will only take up 1/4 of one side of the hall. A double high, single wide will take up 1/2, and a double double will take up a full thing. So that's how the sizing works. And on the MC guides, there is actually a listing of all of the sizes of huts if you didn't want to just preview it and take a look at what it is. There is actually a list, so you can help plan out your setup for how big the huts are. So that is, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a hall that has some space in it and show you the placement of the huts. So this particular one has a couple of huts put in with one facade, just so you can see how things are. So this one is a single wide, single high, and you're obviously going to put another single wide, single high on top, and the facades is what lets you get up and down to the second hut. So that's what the facades are really for, is for getting up and down to these second ones, as well as making things look nice. So this side we have nothing, so we've got some room and we can decide what we want to do. So when you go into your build tool, and obviously you're going to have the hut block in your hand, say for example we wanted to add, and so for these halls you're going to use, for the most part, you're going to use the default huts, because those are the ones that go in sort of the default halls. So if we wanted to, say, add a hospital. A hospital is a, if I recall correctly, it's a double high, single wide. And when we preview it, we can see that obviously it's taller, and it only takes up one width there. So for placing, you can see that the front of the hut does look very similar to the side of the hall. And what you're going to do is you're going to overlap the walls there, and you're going to line up where the windows and door are. You can see with the ghosting very clearly when you're not lined up. So when you have it lined up, it will always go right to the edge there, and it will go down into the floor by one, because it's obviously making up the floor of the hut. So if you were to have it up one too many, you can see that does look wrong. So you'll be able to clearly see that the doors and windows are in place. I always like to preview at 5 because that's just how I roll, but in this particular case it's not going to make a big difference for your previewing. It's just checking these lines, checking these to make sure they're lined up. So that's a double tall, single wide. And so if we were to take a look at something else, for example, the default, so the university, as you saw, was a double double. And so when it comes up, you can see obviously things don't look, if you do this, it's like, well, that doesn't line up. So you just flip it around, move it up here. And so this is where the sizing, in this case, the level 1, even though it's not yet taking up that top level, the preview lines are showing you that it is going to be taking up that whole section. So it's really easy to see actually what size a hut is when you're placing it. So that's really all there is to the tricks of placement of these things when you don't have any facades up. So what about if you did have some facades up? Say you had you had a building here already and you were placing things here. So let's put in a facade, standard stone. Maybe we'll put in a single. So for facades, I think we've looked at these before, but they're also going to very nicely slot in and fit right into the corners there. You can see that it lines up to the doors and windows, same as everything else. Basically, the doors and windows are what's going to help you line up almost everything. Most of them will go into the floor because they will have something just changing the flooring, and that is how you line it up. This particular facade, when you take a look at it, you see it doesn't have any stairs leading up. So this one is intended to be used on a double tall, single wide building. So not all of them are going to give you stairs going up. So let's switch to something that does have stairs going up. Let's see, so this one. So some of them, if you're doing a single, will have stairs that are going up to the next level. So this one's nice. It's in the right spot. So let's go ahead and we're going to stick that in there. So now if you were putting in, now a lot of the Craftsman ones are single. So for example, let's take the bakery. You can see this one is, and again, always previewing at level 5. Can, oops, stick this in there. There we go. Okay, so one thing that helps is I always kind of bring it up here. You can see it's kind of lined up to the wall here. So when we pop it in, it's going to make a lot of sense when you put it in place. So you can see the line there. You can see that with the preview ghosting, it's lined up with the doors, it's lined up with the windows, and it's overlapped with that wall. Now you can actually place all of your buildings so they're not overlapping. So they're actually one further back, and that is absolutely fine. There is enough room in the whole setup for you to be able to do that. The window wells and door areas will be deeper, obviously. And there's no problem with doing that. You can absolutely do it without overlapping. I personally like to overlap them. I just find that it's easier to line things up and do that sort of thing. So that's so we're going to go ahead and we're going to cheat a little bit and construct that in. So that's the bottom one. Now you saw that one, it was pretty simple to line up and get in there. The upper ones can be feel like they're a little more complicated, but they're really not. It's the same sort of thing. You're just going to let me think, what is the stone smelter, I think is a single. Let me remind myself. Yes, it is. Okay, so now this is going to be full of stone, so you're not going to be able to see unless you go in and you empty that a little bit personally, which is something I actually quite often do. I'll go and open things up. But so we've got the facade here, we've got things coming out, things don't look like they're quite in the right place. You're going to move it back, move until you've got that door lined up, and really that's what you're going to use to figure out where things are. You're just going to, I always, like I said, I always open it up a little bit so I can see where things are going and line up the door until the floor and the door are all in place, and then go ahead and construct it. So taking that time to empty out the sections behind here. Makes things a lot faster for your builders, first of all. Helps you place everything, second of all, and just makes your cavern life overall a lot easier, and gives you things to do while you're waiting for your builders to work. So that's sort of a primer on the sizes of the buildings and how to place them, whether you have facades in or not. And I hope that it is helpful, and we will see you again very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.